Because while Kimmel might be back, there's still a whole lot of ways Trump is doing bad stuff. And yet, occasionally, ladies and gentlemen, he still is able to surprise me, like Saturday. It's always nice to start the show with some good news. Well, just a few hours before we tape this broadcast, we got word that our long national late nightmare is over. Because Disney announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live will return to air on ABC tomorrow, Tuesday night. Come on!
Disney blinked. Jimmy Kimmel Live is back on ABC. After a week of public pressure, affiliate chaos, and a full-blown subscriber revolt, the network reversed course and announced Kimmel returns to air. Why did it happen? Because people made noise where it counts. Search trends spiked for cancel Disney Plus and cancel Hulu. Viewers lit up switchboards. Advertisers got spooked. Affiliates hated being in the blast radius. And the message landed, punishing a comedian for a joke is not brand safety. It's an attack on speech, especially when the same political figures who cheered the suspension also threatened the network's license like a mobster suggesting fire insurance. That's not media oversight. That's extortion dressed up as regulation. The bottom line is simple. Public pressure worked. That's why Kimmel's staff has jobs to return to tomorrow. While that was unfolding, the president posted something that should chill every American, regardless of party. He publicly urged Attorney General Pam Bondi to go after his political opponents, by name, James Comey, Adam Schiff, Letitia James. He didn't cite new evidence, he cited posts and statements, like reading the internet counts as probable cause, and he didn't whisper it. He blasted it on social media in what looked a lot like a misfired private text, complete with Pam at the top. That is not how independent law enforcement works in a constitutional system. That is how client states and petty strongmen operate. Weaponize prosecution, then call it justice.
This is wonderful news for my dear friend Jimmy and his amazing staff. They continue the show. That's right. You know, I'm so happy for them. Plus, now that Jimmy's not being canceled, I get to enjoy this again.
It's also clumsy. If you're going to try to suborn the Justice Department, maybe don't leave a time-stamped paper trail on your own feed. If you want to understand why that message matters beyond the outrage cycle, look at what else came to light. An undercover FBI operation last year recorded Tom Homan, now the administration's border czar, accepting $50,000 in cash from agents posing as contractors. The pitch, according to multiple people familiar with the case, helped securing future contracts if Trump returned to power. Cameras rolled, money changed hands. Prosecutors planned to keep watching to see if promises turned into action once Homan had an office, a staff, and influence.
It's more, I am the only martyr in late nights. Wait, unless, CBS, you want to announce anything? Huh?
Then January arrived. The new political team took over, and the probe was quietly smothered. Within months, it was officially closed. Today, the White House insists nothing happened. The DOJ says there was no credible evidence. And yet the fact pattern that led seasoned public corruption prosecutors to treat this as a live case didn't evaporate. It was shut off at the valve. Two things can be true at once. One, because Homan wasn't a public official when he took the cash, the cleanest bribery statute is harder to fit until the official act is in play. Two, that's exactly why investigators keep monitoring, because a conspiracy to take official action can still be charged when the official action becomes real. Closing the case the moment it might ripen is not due diligence. It's protection. You can call that deep state if the phrase makes you feel brave. In practice, it looks like the opposite, a shallow state hollowed out to protect the boss's friends.
Now, Disney put out a statement which said, last Wednesday, we made the decision to meow, 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 whatever. Here's why Disney folded. After Kimmel was suspended, Google searches for cancel Disney Plus and cancel Hulu spiked, which explains why the other trending search was how to entertain feral child without Bluey, ? So Disney put Kimmel back on because you, the American people, were upset, okay?
Now let's talk about a policy grenade hurled into the labor market with no warning. An executive move to slap a $100,000 fee on H-1B visas. For years, the employer cost to petition a high-skilled worker has been in the low thousands, with fraud fees and training fees layered on top. Suddenly, we're told it's six figures. Not guidance. Not a notice of proposed rulemaking, a proclamation. Companies panicked. Some told foreign staff not to travel. Others scrambled counsel late on a Friday to decode who was hit and when. Then the cleanup crew came out and said, no, not annual, not renewals, just new visas. Meanwhile, a cabinet official said out loud, per year. That is regulatory Russian roulette for employers who actually make payroll and plan staffing quarters in advance. It's also an own goal for American competitiveness. If our message to STEM grads is, you can work here if your company pays the price of a house for the privilege, a lot of those degrees will fly straight to Toronto, London, Bangalore, or Berlin. We will still use the products they build. We just won't build them here.
He threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take them off the air, so ABC cannot broadcast anymore. He threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Wow, I gotta say, I am shocked that I agree with Ted Cruz on something.
All of this fits a pattern. Degrade institutions, centralize power, improvise policy by post, then demand prosecution for enemies and immunity for friends. When it blows up, claim victory, change the story, and tell people who just watched the explosion that nothing happened. It's the governing style of a reality show. Throw a twist, sell the confessional, never cut to the part where anyone fixes the mess. If you're thinking, okay, but what does any of that mean for me tomorrow morning? Here it is. When a president orders prosecutors around by name, companies retreat from risk, even on perfectly legal speech. When a White House floats six-figure visa fees, projects stall, departments freeze headcount, contracts slide. When a corruption probe is closed from the top down, the message to every grifter watching is clear. Get close to the throne and you'll be fine. The bill for that culture doesn't land in a think tank, it lands on your desk in the form of higher costs, slower service, fewer options, and a political class that believes the only consequence for power is more power. That brings me back to Kimmel because it's the counterexample that proves a path forward. Disney didn't suddenly wake up one morning and fall in love with free expression. They felt heat. They saw canceled subscriptions. They watched affiliates and advertisers and late-night peers line up. They heard you. The reversal wasn't charity, it was accountability. And it happened in public, quickly. That matters, because it shows this is not some immovable system where nothing you do matters. When people organize, even one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world will change direction within days.
I'm even more shocked that he somehow got Robert De Niro to come on the podcast. That was beautiful. Meh, see, meh, I'm taking off the air. See, meh, I'm the FCC. Meh, meh. ABC was being flooded with complaints about taking Jimmy off the air, but not all those complaints went to the right place because down under, the Australian Broadcasting Company, which also goes by the initials ABC, was being barraged by misdirected complaints about the Kimmel suspension. Come on, folks. Leave him alone. Don't attack Australian ABC.
Contrast that with what the president posted to the attorney general. That was also in public, also quickly. But that wasn't accountability. That was a command. If it had come to Bondi privately, it would have been improper. Coming publicly, it's something worse. It's a loyalty test. Will you do it even when everyone can see me telling you to do it? The same test seems to define how justice handled the Homan case and how the administration plays immigration policy. Don't build a system, build a spectacle. Don't design workable rules, design a headline. If people get trampled in the stampede, they were in the way. There's a reason autocrats love chaos. Chaos makes it easier to say, only I can fix it. Chaos makes it easier to blur the difference between a prosecution and a persecution, between an oversight letter and a vendetta, between an employer petitioning for talent and a cash register at the border. Chaos also convinces regular folks to tune out because the outrage fire hose never turns off. That is the real goal, not to win every fight, but to exhaust the audience. So let me do the opposite of exhaustion and give you a clear, simple list of what to watch next. No spin, just outcomes.
When he posted this message to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts that say essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing's gonna be done. Okay, a lot going on there. First, he's calling on the Attorney General to prosecute his political foes whether there's evidence of a crime or not. That's a pretty big deal.
Does ABC air Kimmel tomorrow as promised without hedges? Good. That confirms public pushback still works. Do we get a coherent, written, legally sound policy document explaining exactly who the H-1B fee applies to and when? And is that number anywhere near six figures? If not, it was a scare tactic. If yes, watch how quickly project timelines drift offshore. Do House and Senate Republicans distance themselves from a president publicly telling the Attorney General whom to prosecute? If they don't understand the precedent they're blessing. And do any lawmakers in either party insist on independent eyes revisiting the Homan decision, even if only to reassure the public that, yes, serious cases get a fair shake no matter who sits in the West Wing? If they won't, then you know the protection racket isn't a bug of this Justice Department. It's a feature. One more thing, because it always gets lost in the storm, this is not a left versus right issue at its core. It's a rules versus rulers issue. If you want the market to work, you need predictable policy. If you want law enforcement to work, you need independence from political pressure. If you want free speech to mean anything, comedians have to be allowed to bomb, offend, miss, and apologize without a federal official dangling licenses over their heads like broken kneecaps. And if you want corruption deterred, you cannot have a caste system where cash in the right bag buys you a pass. Here's the good news. You just proved you can move a giant. You moved Disney, you can move others. Keep receipts, support journalism that shows you documents, not vibes. Back whistleblowers who risk their careers to drag truth into daylight, and make it boring for would-be autocrats to run their surprise government. They hate boring. Boring is transparency, timetables, hearings, paper trails, published rules, independent votes. Boring is the thing that keeps your life from lurching every Friday at 4:59 p.m. If you want more of this kind of reporting, help us keep doing it. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to America Facticity and turn on notifications. Drop a comment with what your workplace or family is seeing around visas, health coverage, or network carriage. Those ground truth details help us connect the dots. And share this with someone who isn't glued to the news, but deserves to understand how this week's late night drama is actually a stress test of the whole system. We'll be here tomorrow, unless, the rapture actually shows up. In which case, I still expect a written policy memo from whoever's in charge. Until then, stay loud, stay focused, and stay with us.
And remember, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button.